Richard Michelson is the author of many poetry collections, including most recently if you could hear me, can you hear me? Sleeping as Fast as I Can, More Money Than God, Battles and Lullabies, Tap Dancing for the Relatives, my favorite title, are a few. He's the winner of many, his, too many to name here, but let's just say he's an incredibly honored and well-deserved honored poet with a National Book Award for three, I believe, for children's books, but as well as the poetry books that he writes. So I don't know how he does that both so incredibly well. It's appeared in, of course, many journals and anthologies as far as his poetry is concerned. He wrote a libretto for an off-Broadway musical. His children's book has been listed among the 10 best books of the year by the New York Times, Publishers Weekly, and the New Yorker. So, and he was born in East New York, Brooklyn. How about that? Some of the most respected poets have said some incredible things about his work, such as Alicia Allstriker saying a high-spirited romp with language and tough spiritual struggle with suffering. She finished the book she was reading of his and turned right around and started over. So a better higher compliment than that. For me, there are countless things to love about Richard's poetry, but I only have time to list a few. I love how he can weave his language in multi-directions, the way he can cover so much ground while at the same time making perfect sense, poetry sense. How, for example, in one stanza of his poem In Praise of Disorder, he can move from rabbis protesting Trump's ban on Muslim immigration to the police who attempt to control the crowd to passengers stuck in gridlock, and how he zeroes in on the single woman who's got her own service, who's late for spin class and has to call the dog walker, and all in one sentence in about 5 lines. I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing. His linguistic swirl can capture an organized chaos and I love how his wide reach can penetrate with steady attention, merging vast Judaic history with the here and now, the angels and the white nationalists, the historical and the personal. I'll admit I'm envious of the way his poems absorb the news of God and the angels with the news of our current moment, mixing wisdom with street sense. In one of his poems, he asks the perennial question, is it good for the Jews? Without question, his poetry is not only good for the Jews, but for all humans. And I love the epigraph of his recent book, Sleeping as Short as I Can, which quotes the Yiddish saying, sleep fast, we need the pillows. We're happy he does sleep as fast as he can. We need his poetry. Here's Richard Meadows.